Hey, what's up guys, it's DarkArmedDuelist and today doing a Penguin deck profile. So I'm really excited to do this for you guys because this deck can synchro summon into some amazing boss monsters like Penguin Brave, and I've changed up this deck a lot since the last time I profiled it, and I'm super excited to show you guys this list. So without further ado, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell there so you can become part of Notification Squad, and definitely check out the Patreon down in the description below for all those awesome rewards. Like getting your name description every single video, getting assigned cards in the mail, and even getting to request a deck profile every single month to your Patreon. So without further ado, let's get straight on into this. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Penguin Squire. This card is a definite 3 of in the deck because this card helps us synchro summon into all sorts of amazing cards because this card is a tuner. It has it cannot be used as a synchro material except for the synchro summon of a water monster, which is totally fine because we play a lot of water monsters in the extra deck. It also has the ability, if a monster is set on your side of the field, then you can special summon this card from your hand, then reduce its level by 1 or 2. You can also target one face down defense position monster that you control and change it to face up defense position, and if you do, its effects are negated unless it's a penguin monster, which works really well with our copy of Penguin Soldier, so we can get its double bounce effect off this card's ability while also going in for some synchro plays using those 2 cards. We then play 3 copies of the Great Emperor Penguin. The Great Emperor Penguin is a great 3 of in the deck because this card helps you swarm the board with the ability that you get to tribute this card and then special summon it to 2 more penguin monsters from your deck, except more copies of this card, which is great to be able to just swarm the board with penguin monsters. We then play 2 copies of Penguin Soldier. Penguin Soldier is a definite 2 of in the build, and this card is amazing because when it's flip face up, you can bounce 2 monsters on the field back to the hand, which is a great effect to be able to bounce your opponent's cards off their side of the field back to their hand. This card is an amazing old school card, and I absolutely love this card. Definitely comment down below what your favorite penguin monster is. We then play 2 copies of Glacier Beast Polar Penguin. This card is awesome because it is a tuner monster and it helps you go in for synchro plays, and it also has a pretty cool ability. If this card is special summoned, you can target one monster your opponent controls and return it back to the hand, which is a great effect for this card to have. We then play a single copy of No Penguin. No Penguin is hilarious, but it's really good in this deck because it helps you just deal with your opponent's field super easily because it has the ability during either player's turn, when an effect of a penguin monster is activated, special summon this card from your graveyard. And you can only use the effect of this card once per turn, that if a card would be returned from the field back to the hand by a card effect of a penguin card, banish it instead, which is really cool to combine with cards like Penguin Soldier, so instead of cards getting bounced back to the hand, they get banished instead. We then play a single copy of Penguin Ninja. Penguin Ninja is a really cool flip monster. It has the ability that if this card is flip face up, then you can target up to 2 spell and traps that your opponent controls and return them back to the hand. It also has the ability that you can target one penguin monster you control and change it to face down defense position, which is a really good effect. We then play a single copy of Puny Penguin. Puny Penguin is a really good 1 of in this build, but you only need a single copy of Puny Penguin. It's a good combo piece because when this card is sent from the field to the graveyard after being flip face up, you can target a penguin monster in your graveyard, except another copy of this card, and special summon that target and face up attack or face down defense solution, which is great to be able to just replace this card with another monster. We then play, for our spicy tech cards, we're going to be playing an Ice Jade engine, which is going to be 3 copies of Ice Jade Ran Agreenie. This card is great to be able to play in the deck because this card helps out so much with your synchro plays, because this card is basically a 1.5 card level 10 synchro play. Because this card is a really cool ability that you can discard a card to special summon this card from your hand, with the discarding card needing to be an Ice Jade or a water monster, which is really easy to do. Then you special summon this card from your hand, and then you can special summon out one Ice Jade token that is an Aqua Water level 3, 0 attack, 0 defense, giving you basically a level 10 synchro play because this card is a level 7 tuner monster, so that you can step into a synchro play, which is just really cool. And while that token is in the monster zone, the player who summoned it cannot special summon monsters from the extract except water monsters, which again is totally fine because we can summon out a bunch of really cool water monsters using this card. We then play 2 copies of Ice Jade Tremora. Tremora is really good as a 2 of in the build because this card helps you unbreak your hands because it has the ability you can send this card from your hand to the graveyard to special summon one water monster from your hand, which is the main effect we're using on this card to be able to get additional monsters on our side of the field like the Great Emperor Penguin. I'm only playing 2 copies of it in this build because we're also playing Ice Jade Cradle to be able to grab this card, which is just really good to be able to play just 2 copies of Tremora. We then play a single copy of Ice Jade Agreenie. Agreenie is just a good one-of combo piece in the deck, because if this card is normal or special summon, you can add an Ice Jade spell or trap from your deck to your hand, which is the main effect we're using on this card as a part of our combo. We then play 3 copies of Deep Sea Diva. Deep Sea Diva is insane in this deck as a 3-up, because this card has the ability, when this card is normal summon, you can special summon one level 3 or lower Sea Serpent monster from your deck, which you're always going to be summoning off your copy of Guitar. Guitar is really good as a 1-up in the build to be able to summon to your side of the field. Is if this card is special summon, you banish cards from the top of your opponent's deck equal to the number of water monsters that you control, which is usually going to be 2. And it also has the ability you can target a level 4 or lower water monster that you control and increase its level by its original level, which you're usually targeting your copy of Deep Sea Diva to increase it up to a level 4, so you can use these two to go into your copy of Prima Donna, which is amazing to be able to do with this card, so you can climb into something like a Baron de Fleur or another level 10 Synchro monster. We then play 3 copies of Ash Blossom. Ash Blossom's amazing to be able to play as a 3-of just to stop your opponent from touching the deck, and this card is just an amazing card in the build overall. So, that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to start with 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. Goods is good in this deck. This card helps you out a lot because it sends your copy of Ice Barrier to the graveyard so you can search out your monsters that you need. We then play 3 copies of Ice Jade Cradle. Ice Jade Cradle is amazing as a 3-up in the build because this card searches out your Ice Jade monsters from your deck to your hand with a different name from cards that you control and in your graveyard, which is really good to be able to search out your copies of your Greenies or your copy of Tremora from your deck to your hand. We then play 3 copies of Royal Penguin's Garden. Royal Penguin's Garden is basically the Rhoda for your penguins because this card has the ability, when this card is activated, you can add a penguin card from your deck to your hand, except another copy of this card, and once per turn during your main phase, you can decrease the level of one penguin monster in your hand or face up from field by 1 until the end of this turn, then discard a card, which is a great ability for this card to have to be able to reduce a penguin's level down so you can normal summon something out to your side of the field, like your copy of the Great Emperor Penguin. So, that's it for these spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. So for the traps, we're going to be playing 2 copies of Ice Barrier. Ice Barrier is an amazing 2-of in the deck to be able to work with your copy of Foolish Burial Goods because this card has a great ability that you can banish this card from your graveyard and then send a level 5 or higher water monster from your deck to the graveyard. Then you can add a water monster from your graveyard to your hand. Also, until the end of the next turn after this card resolves, you cannot special summon monsters except water monsters, which is totally fine because it's usually all we're summoning anyways. But this card is amazing in the deck as a 2-of because it helps you out with so many different plays, getting water monsters out of your graveyard, and you don't even have to add the monster you send to the graveyard for this card's ability. You can add a different one, which is really cool. We then play 3 copies of Infinite Impermanence. Impermanence is really good as a 3-of in the deck just to stop your opponent's monster effects and also lock down entire columns of spells and traps, making this card a definite 3-of in the build. So that's it for the main deck, guys. Let's get into the extra deck. So for the extra deck, guys, we're going to start off with Penguin Brave. Penguin Brave is an amazing 2-of in the extra deck, and I absolutely love this card. It has the ability that it takes just any tuner plus a non-tuner, so it's super generic to be able to make in this deck. And also has the ability that your opponent cannot target face-down defensive monsters you control with card effects. And it also has the ability that it once per turn, if this card is synchro summoned, you can special summon a penguin monster from your deck and face down defense position. And when your opponent activates a monster effect, quick effect, you can flip one face down defense position water monster you control face up, which is great to be able to flip your penguin monsters face up so you can get their effects to go off. We then play a single copy of Ice Jade Agreenie, the Synchro monster. This card is really good because this card is a banish, and it's just an amazing card overall to be able to make with your copy of Ran Agreenie. We then play a single copy of Baron de Fleur. Baron de Fleur is really good as a 1-of because this card is a walking negate, but it is a wind monster, so you have to watch out for when you get locked into water monsters for when you can make this card, but you can make it with Deep Sea Diva and its combo, which is just really amazing. We then play a single copy of the Sword Soul Supreme Sovereign. cover him. This card is great as a 1-of because it is a water level 10. That's really easy to make and really hard for your opponent to deal with, because for each banished card, this card gains 100 attack and defense points, and monsters that your opponent control lose 100 attack and defense points. And this card would be destroyed by card effect, then you can banish one card from your grave instead, and if a card is banished, then you can banish one card each from both your opponent's field and graveyard, which is amazing. We then play a single copy of Trishula. Trishula does come up every so often to be able to banish cards, which is just really cool when it does. It's a little rare, but it's really good as an option. We then play a single copy of Ravenous Croco Dragon. Ravenous Croco Dragon is really good to help you draw cards, and it's also just an awesome card in the deck to be able to use to discard 2 cards and then target a card on the field and destroy it as an interruption against the opponent. We then play a single copy of Dragite. Dragite is a spell trap negate when there's a water monster in the graveyard, which is amazing to be able to use in the deck. We then play a single copy of White Aura Whale. White Aura Whale is one of my favorite synchro monsters to make in this deck besides Penguin Brave, is when this card is synchro summoned, you destroy all monsters that your opponent controls in attack position, which is insane to be able to use with this card. And this card can make up to 2 attacks on monsters during each battle phase, and if this card attacks a defense position monster, it also does piercing battle damage, which is amazing about this card. This card does so much, and it's a really awesome card to be able to make against your opponent. We then play a single copy of Draco Berserker. Draco Berserker is just really good in just about any deck that can synchro summon, so it's a really good card to be able to make in this build. Play a single copy of Excel Synchro Stardust Dragon. You can make this card every so often in the deck to help you climb into cards like Baron de Fleur or other synchro monsters. We then play a single copy of Deep Sea Prima Donna. Prima Donna is great in this deck to help you climb into Baron de Fleur, because this card is what you usually make with your Deep Sea Diva combo, because it also has the ability to target one of your opponent's banished cards and add it to your hand, or special summon one level 4 or lower water monster from your deck, and if you do, add that target to their hand, which is a really cool ability to be able to use about this card, because it just helps out so much to be able to get an additional monster on your side of the field, especially getting a level 3 monster on your side of the field, so you can use this tuner monster plus whatever you summon from your deck to step into a synchro play. We then play a single copy of Coral Dragon. Coral Dragon is really good because this card helps you synchro climb into other cards because it is a tuner synchro monster. Then we play a single copy of World Sea Dragon Zelantis. Zelantis is amazing to combine with your copy of Coral Anemone, because we also play a single copy of Coral Anemone, because these cards can essentially lock your opponent down and board wipe your opponent, which is insane, because what you do is you use the effect of Coral Anemone to basically bring back any water monster from your graveyard, which will water lock you, so you can only summon water monsters for the rest of the turn. Then you use the effect of World Sea Dragon Zelantis to be able to use his effect, and then once you do, you'll basically banish all monsters on both players' fields, and then you'll only summon back the water monsters because you're the one summoning back the monsters, not your opponent, which is absolutely insane, because basically if your opponent's not playing water, they're not getting their monsters back, and we are getting all of ours back because that's pretty much all we're playing. So that's it for the deck, guys. I hope you enjoyed. If you guys have never played Penguins before, you should definitely give this deck a try, because it's super fun to be able to play, and I absolutely love Penguins. This deck is super fun. It's amazing to be able to just use cards like Penguin Soldier, which was one of my first cards when I first started playing Yu-Gi-Oh! And it's just a really fun deck overall. So you guys should definitely give this deck a try. So that's going to do it for this one, guys. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, hit the bell there so you can become part of the notification squad, and we'll see you guys in the next video. See you later, guys.